That was so cool.
Welcome.
Good music. She was adorable.
It's a Pokemon. The Pokemon presents live reaction to the live reaction, I guess, to the Pokemon presents. I just said it first. I don't like this. I just got an alert and it says X gave you an alert. Like, what? What do you mean X?
Yeah.
Mama named it Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter.
That's not my Twitter.
Not my Twitter.
Not my Twitter.
New hashtag.
Honestly.
Welcome to the Nintopics podcast episode something. We are here with the entire crew, starting with Paul, Gale Network. What's up, Paul?
Talk to me, Paul.
Talk to us, Paul.
I got these in the mail today.
Oh.
The Nintendo Live 2023 attendee badges.
Nice.
Nintendo Live.
Huge.
Six of
Exciting.
them. So
That's so cool.
Are those all for us? We're all going with you, right?
if you want to fly out, I've got to fly north, so
I'm fine with flying.
there are multiples available, but yeah, that's September 1st through September 4th as part of a PAX extension, yet specific events. So I'm pretty pumped. Nothing quite like a live show, but regardless, if you're watching online, I'm sure there's going to be something for everybody.
Yeah, technically, if I reach out to our MCN, then they'll get us PAX entrances. I'm not sure if the PAX media entrance will actually also help with Nintendo Live. But the thing is that week is my daughter's birthday, the 4th. So
Nothing like celebrating a birthday at Nintendo Live.
Hey, that was my original plan. I actually ordered 4 for all of us, and Nintendo said no. They denied it, and now I'm sad. Anyway, let's move on. Start with Joycie J. What's up, Joycie?
Hey guys, let's see here. What's going on? Feeling better than it was last week. I was not feeling good at all. Let's see here. I haven't been playing too much stuff. That's
not the question, Joycie. We're not there yet.
Too busy. But I'm doing all right. Well, it's a gaming podcast. I just wanted to say something about gaming. I haven't talked about gaming for that whole 5-minute intro. Gosh.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joycie. What are you playing?
I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did. Now that there's literally no pressure, nothing I have to hide from. I booted up the other Switch. Yes, because I have 3. And took one of my 25,000 copies, physical copies of Tears of the Kingdom, started all over again. And I said, if it can capture my attention the exact same way A Link to the Past does, and it has captured my attention. But like I said, no pressure. I know what happens. There's nothing, and I'm going to be playing it very slowly, and I'm playing it very, very differently than I did the first time, because I don't have, and I'm already finding like stuff that I was like, I didn't know this was in here. I didn't know this was in. Who's this person? So it's really, really nice, and I'm going very, very slow. But I do have a gang of games that I do have to get to. Like I keep talking about, like every time I'm on here, is I have to finish Octopath Traveler. And I was like, maybe I should start that over too, because I'm like, I don't remember what happened.
Oh, no.
I was like, and it's a completely different play style. So I have to kind of get back into that mindset. So I'm not going to start. I don't think I'm going to start over, but I am going to run around and remember what was going on. But I have 2 final bosses to finish, and they're extremely difficult. So either this weekend or next weekend, I'm going to get back into that. So, but next year when I've actually finished Tears of the Kingdom the way I want to play it, I'll report back and tell you if it's my number 1 or not. It's in my top 5 now. So Zelda 1 is now Zelda 1 for the first time since I was a child is now number 6. Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy cupcakes. Vandy,
cupcakes.
2, 3, take it away, man.
Hello. I am also feeling quite a bit better, which is really nice. Life's busy. Life is insane. I think I have 1 free weekend in the next. Since last weekend, I think I have 1 free weekend probably in the next month and a half.
Oh man.
Which is just a lot. But it's also pretty good. It's pretty fun, but that also does mean I am not playing a whole bunch of games. It's pretty much just Unite when I have the time, or whatever I'm doing on stream. What I'm doing on stream is just the shiny hunting stuff. So it's good. It's fun. Again, it's busy, but unfortunately not a whole lot of variety of chill me time gaming, I guess. Which definitely stinks, but at the same time, it's good. I like being busy.
That's good. That's awesome. Let's go with Lindsvizz. How are you doing, Lindsvizz?
I'm good. Today is like not today, but this entire week is like uber productive for me, considering Worlds is happening this weekend and Pokemon actually gave us permission to co-stream it. So
Nice.
I've been like mentally just preparing for all of that, on top of trying to like make up for all the streams that I lost while I was out of town in Charlotte with Vanderson last weekend. So it's just been a lot of being busy, staying on top of just anything and everything. And then as soon as this week is over, I'm going to be dead. And I'm just going to like lay back and just die of exhaustion from just everything that I've done. So
now just sleep it off. Don't die.
Yeah.
see, well, here's the thing though. Here's what I need you guys to understand is Worlds is in Japan. They're starting Worlds at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, and it typically goes for about 10 hours, and it's 3 days in a row. So if I co-stream that, I'm going live until, I'm assuming I'm going to be able to last until 4 a.m. roughly. But if I decide to stream the whole thing, I'm probably going to be going until like 8 a.m. in the morning. And I'm going to be doing that for 3 days straight on top of like my normal stream. I'm not just streaming Worlds. So I'm going to be doing a normal stream and then going into the entire Worlds 10-hour stream. So my body will be in shambles.
Hashtag not an ad, but please get yourself some good coffee.
That's
Literally.
crazy. Like streaming for like 10 hours in a row.
On top of your regular streams, I can understand if you weren't doing your regular streams, but yeah.
Yep.
Well,
just bananas, just plain bananas and stuff.
but it's gonna be fun though.
It's gonna be fun. That's what I'm telling myself is like, I had last weekend off to like rest and have fun and just like not have to think about work really. And then this entire week, it's just like balls to the walls. Let's just stream for like 13 hours because why not? And then wake up and then do the exact same thing and go for another 13 hours. It's gonna be fun.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna make it.
I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be a time.
That's awesome. Well, on my end, not much is going on, you know. Day job taking a lot of time, like 10 hours of the day. And then I dedicate some time to YouTube, working on Switch 2 news and other stuff, right? Playing. I started my Animal Crossing Island, and I'm there. And it's a mess right now. It's all over the place. There's no real sense of it. Everything is everywhere, but nothing makes sense. And it's fun, right? Like I don't know where to put. I put the shop right next to my house. I'm like, why did I put that there? And then I put this thing, the
museum.
How crazy it is. The museum is literally right next to the airport. I'm like, you go there, it's right there. Like, doesn't make sense. And the whole island is like that right now. So I'm having fun with that.
One day we will all get some time to where we can really all do our island. Oh, because I need to do mine over. And, hopefully we can share that with you guys on stream, and visit each other's islands and whatnot.
I have a special guest that I want to bring on that is an amazing island designer that is a combination of Cozy and Zelda. Okay. And they redesigned every single shot from Breath of the Wild and from Tears of the Kingdom. And like shot by shot. And then you look at the Animal Crossing Island, and you look at the shot where Link is standing. Look at that. It's like they even have like their little person is with a little Link outfit and everything.
Nice.
Crazy.
Yes,
what is their name?
Yes, please.
What is their name so I can follow them on Twitter right now?
You'll find out.
Stalk them.
Now we'll keep it for now. You'll find out. They'll come on the podcast and they'll show their creation because it is incredible.
DM us.
Incredible. If you're watching, don't do anything. Don't out yourself yet.
What'd you say, Paul?
If you could somehow give them two screens when they're eventually on, so their face takes up one, and it's like a live reaction shot of them giving a tour, that would be really cool.
That'd be really cool.
So nice.
For sure.
Yeah, we could do an island tour.
For sure. We'll have an Animal Crossing Island tour podcast.
And we'll all fly to their island, and
yeah, we could do that too.
And then they'll kick me off because they're like, Joyce, this is not really Hyrule.
I can't pull out the Master Sword. What's up?
I don't understand what's happening.
So yeah, Animal Crossing is awesome, and that person is gonna be on the podcast pretty soon. I gotta let them know. Maybe by the next podcast we'll bring him on, and we'll talk about Animal Crossing and talk about Zelda, but the combination like the animal Tears of the Crossings.
Tears of the Crossings.
Tears of the Crossings.
Oh my gosh, I have such a good idea for an intro for that. Remind me of that, Mike.
Okay, I will. All right, so Paul Gale, did I already talk to Paul? Paul,
No.
Come, Paul, talk to us, Paul.
Talk to me.
Game wise, what I'm playing?
No. How are you? You can go ahead and segue to that too.
So, you started off with me, and I was like, I'm doing great because I got.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, go ahead and you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm here losing my head. So you go ahead and what have you been playing, Paul?
Yeah. So now that one, the usual. It's despite there being so many new games coming out every week, I can't pull myself away from Pikmin 4 and Street Fighter 6. So it's just been going back and forth between those. But it's good. I'm looking forward to obviously Super Mario RPG and Super Mario Brothers Wonder that come out later on in the year. Spider-Man 2. So there will be a greater variety later on. But I'm wrapping up Final Fantasy 16, and yeah, it's pretty much Pikmin 4 and Street Fighter 6 juggling between the two of them. But it's good.
Interesting.
People notice that immediately, by the way. I'm talking like
that dropped that right away.
11 seconds in.
Literally?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm like, I have no idea
the first one. Yeah, the first one here was Having Hope.
Good job.
The first one. Yeah, guys, I've been wearing a fake mustache. The thing is that I want to see how long I can switch mustaches, okay, without anybody noticing. First thing, okay, like literally like seconds into the podcast?
Seconds.
All right, yeah, look, Having Hope said they might grow a mustache. At least I almost convinced her that I grew a mustache. Let's see here. Sage, I couldn't fool him. Mike Odyssey wearing a fake mustache. That was the next one.
Immediately.
Yeah.
The other one is, holy cow, Paul is awesome.
That is true.
Mark Karen. Let's see here.
Accurate comments.
True.
That's it. I think that's okay. Jenmar said love the stash. So yeah, she got it right away. Who else did mustache?
I think that was it. Those were the ones that I saw.
Yeah, everybody else. I got you.
I got them.
Got them all.
Bamboozled.
So that's a victory for the Odyssey. All right. So anyway, Paul has been playing pretty good games. What you mentioned Street Fighter. How's that Street Fighter going? Have you beat it yet?
I haven't beaten like the story mode. Well, the game has, it's a single player kind of arcade typical games that you play in like groups of 5 or 12. That I've beaten, a dozen times.
Groups of 5? Groups of 5 or 12?
I mean, you could fight. You go through the story mode quickly and just fight against 5 people and you're done, or against 12 and then you're done. So I've done, those, collecting all the art. But then the game's got like a bigger story mode that's, the 3D run around town and meet up with classic characters and stuff like that. Oh, I will say this. Yeah. I almost forgot. How could I forgot? So it's still Street Fighter 6, but I've been enjoying the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover with Street Fighter as of yesterday, because they announced that Evo that they're bringing the Ninja Turtles as skins to wear in Street Fighter 6. So they're kind of high for skins. They're $15 per costume, and in some games you're paying like $7 for a whole character with a move set and sometimes a stage attached to that individual. But I bought it because I've got plenty of Xbox points, PlayStation points, and I bought it for the Xbox version. But I just got Michelangelo.
I mean,
it wasn't necessary to spend $60 all 4.
These turtles are blowing up. They're blowing up. It's like well, it started with the 2 games, right? The 2 games that released. One was somebody from
Shredder's Revenge.
Shredder's Revenge was the first one, right? And then
Cowabunga Collection.
And the Cowabunga Collection, right? And that's how they started making this comeback. And the movie just topped it off. The movie was so good that kind of brought the turtles back, and now they're just everywhere, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of weirdly enough, I'm not even like that big of a TMNT fan, but I get a lot of like movie clips or game clips or something like that on like a lot of my social media, and I'm like, I'm not even a massive TMNT fan, but I'm seeing them everywhere.
Yeah, I saw an Animal Crossing as New York with the little thingies, with the little you know, the sewers and everything.
Potholes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Sewer cover pot thing.
Yeah, and the pizza box right next to the sewer. I mean, there's no actual Animal Crossing little character that can resemble a turtle.
A turtle. Yeah.
Which is surprising if you think about it.
Wait, there is no Animal Crossing turtles, right?
Not that I've
There's
found.
Mortimer, the mayor from the first one.
He's
But he's a very old man. Not
Isn't
gonna
there
do any
the
fine
turtle
fighting.
who takes you on the boat as well?
there is. You're right.
Is that a turtle? I don't even. I
think
know
he's a
what you're
turtle.
talking
I
about.
think
Is it
so.
the one that sings, right?
Yeah, the one that sings. Yeah. I
Yeah.
keep on thinking of the red otter, but that's not him. Who's the Animal Crossing boat guy? Captain
Yeah, cat. That's it.
is
Oh!
a great turtle. Yeah,
What's his name? Brad Pitt.
his name is Captain.
Oh, Captain. I like
Captain.
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 All right, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been good. Vandy and Liz, what have you guys been playing?
You want to go first?
Unite when I have time. That's it. My me time
Got the
games are non-existent at the moment, unfortunately. But hopefully I'll get back to fully beating Totka or something. But right now when I'm not working, I want to just lay down.
yeah. Sleep.
You got till 2030 to beat it when the next Zelda game comes out. You got time.
Ain't that- That's not that far ahead. That's not that far
Yeah,
ahead.
I got
Fly is
I got time.
like crazy.
I got time though.
I think the next Zelda game will be in about less than 2 years.
We're talking about like main because now
like a
now
big
that they
bad
gave
major.
us-
Okay.
yeah, now that they gave us that big old map, 3 map thing,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, but we're gonna get something. Probably, my bet is we're gonna get the ports. We already got the Oracle game, so we're gonna get the ports next.
Yeah.
That's what I think. But
For sure.
And then
we
Liz,
know what we're all thinking about though, the urban legend itself.
and then Liz, what have you been playing besides Unite? Oh, did I just did it? This is really
I've been doing Animal Crossing,
Oh, nice.
honestly.
Nice.
I got to a 3-star island. I
Mhm.
blitzed the entire game, but I've been working now on like getting villagers that fit
Mhm.
the vibe of the island that I'm about to make.
yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of villager hunting as of right now. I literally streamed villager hunting before the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't want to leave my island. There's
Uh-huh.
like the trick to get them to leave, but it's taking me roughly like 2 hours per villager to get them to leave my island, which
Wait,
is
that's
crazy.
really? It takes me days to get one to leave.
There's a trick you can do.
Really?
Yeah.
If you make them mad, that
Yeah.
works.
It's 1-1-15.
1-1-15. What does that mean? You hit them.
You hop that many days.
Oh, you. Oh,
It's
okay.
like time traveling.
But what determines which villager leaves?
It's
Random.
random. It's RNG.
Ah, okay. So you just have to skip it.
It's 1-1-15. They will not leave on any day that KK is on the island or any like major event like the bug catching contest, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But if you know those and you just go 1-1-15, it's the trick to get them to leave.
Ah, okay.
If you make them mad, they'll leave, or they're offered to leave.
No, is
Mm-mm.
is
Not
it
anymore.
like talking to them, like communicating
Really?
with them?
Mhm.
Yeah, they'll stay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's like,
fixed that.
Yeah, they fixed that in New Horizons.
yeah, that's nice.
Because the thing is, because I remember, this is like forever ago when I was playing and I realized it was taking over my life. I had really bad Joy-Con drift, and I was actually using the Joy-Cons, and I wasn't looking at the screen, and my character was just running up against this other character in a corner, and he was the tiger guy, and he got so angry, and he was stomping around and huffing and puffing, and like the next day, I think he was like, yeah, like I think there's other opportunities out there for me or something. I was like, yeah, get out. If you can't understand my Joy-Con drift, then you don't belong on my island. Get out.
It seemed like a
try that.
A bit of a
I was like, it was my Joy-Con drift, but I guess I should have been paying attention to the screen. But.
That's the game I'm really looking forward to, Animal Crossing. I you know what? This is the thing about me. When it comes to games, I'm an ADHD kind of gamer because I don't focus on just one specific game. I can get right into Tears of the Kingdom. Just like I can get into Animal Crossing, the complete opposite, because this is a very cozy game, but this is a very action adventure type of game. Plus, I can get into a shooter, Plus, I can actually just go everywhere and just enjoy the same and dedicate the same exact of. That's why I'm not an expert on anything, because I just games for what they are. So that's why I got you guys. That's why I have you guys here, because you guys are the expert, the doctors, Dr. Nintendo, Dr. Hyrule. We got our Pokemon Masters, and
that'll go into our discussion a little bit later that I proposed.
Although we might be bringing another person into the podcast in the cozy department. So that we can have like Lindsvidzz. Lindsvidzz is half Pokemon Monster and half cozy, and then we'll have a person that's like just all the coziness in the world, like literally nothing but cozy, and that way we have cozy news to get out there. People can kind of
I can have another cozy friend.
Yeah, yes, the cozy department.
Yay! I've also been playing Palia though, which is that game.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that game.
The open beta. This is public knowledge. The open beta is tomorrow. So if anyone's been wanting to try it and wants to play it, the official public beta starts on the 10th. So nice. I'm assuming you can find more information on their Twitter. That's where they typically post a lot of their updates. But I was a creator chosen to be a part of the closed beta, and I've played it. And if you enjoy Animal Crossing-esque games, it's a much higher graphic. Animal Crossing is kind of how I would describe it. So you have your farming simulator aspects. You've got like making your own house and like the entire village that's like very magical and mystical. There's like a story that's going on in the background. It's really cool. It's really pretty.
I feel bad because I was invited and I ignored it. I should have jumped on it when I got it. I'm like, then now I'm seeing the trailers. I'm like, man, that was a game they actually invited me to. And I'm pretty sure that because it's so close to the open beta, it's like, what's the point? Let's just wait for the open beta and have fun with it. But hey, that's an amazing game. I think I'm gonna jump on that one when it comes out. Yeah. So guess what, guys? This is a Pokemon podcast, and we have been talking about everything but Pokemon. So I think it's time to join the region of I don't know what region are we in. What you got something? What region are we? Imaginary. What could be our imaginary region for this podcast?
The Paldea Paradise.
Paldea Paradise. This is from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yep.
Paldea. See, I know something. You see.
Well done. Let
me get myself a. That wasn't the one.
No, that was it. That was good. That was good.
That worked.
That one.
That one worked.
Yeah.
That one. Anyway. So yes, Pokemon Presents was yesterday. Although it seems about like weeks away, kind of weird. It was yesterday. Okay, we had a Pokemon Presents yesterday, and I believe it went well. I think it was about what everyone was expecting. Of course, there were those kind of predictions out there that were way out there that sometimes us as fans we kind of try to predict too much and we kind of go overboard, and then when our crazy predictions don't happen, that was a bad presentation. Like, not really. That was just it was a bad one here, but it was actually a very good one. I love seeing everything they've done from the very beginning to the very end. They presented everything, even the DLCs, And I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Lindsv and Vandy, the Pokemon experts. I want them to take it over from this point on and talk about your experience and talk about the highlights of the Pokemon presents and stuff like that. So this part of the podcast now belongs to Lindsv and Vandy. They're gonna go ahead and kick us questions to us, Joycie, Paul, and I, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get into Pokemon talk. Wait, hold on. Where's my?
You're grabbing your EV.
I'm ready now.
I love that thing.
He's
All right.
so cute.
Take it away.
You can go first. I'll kind of just go off what you say.
Okay. So pretty much we had a presents yesterday, and I would say it was honestly pretty well received as far as just the Pokemon community goes. I didn't really see a whole lot of anger, I guess, towards what they showed in terms of like some stuff that we're supposed to be looking forward to. We got more of a look into Detective Pikachu 2, which is definitely a sequel that I think shocked a lot of people, but I mean, it definitely does look pretty. And I guess if you played the first one, I'm assuming you're going to like the second, but I think this might also be a good chance for people to try and play the first one. Yeah. It's on the 3DS. I don't know a whole lot about it, but you know, you pop off if you're a big Detective Pikachu fan, at least of the game. I know a lot of us love the movie. They also showed a whole lot about Pokemon Unite. Obviously, Mega Mewtwo Y is coming. If you don't play Unite, you're probably really excited about that. If you do play Unite, you are crying because Mewtwo X is already stupid, and they're adding his twin sister. Not going to be very fun. I'm guessing it's going to be another super broken and buggy Pokemon. So not many Unite fans are, I'm guessing, looking forward to that. Got another update for Pokemon Master ZX. Nemona's coming. Pretty cool. I think Nemona was one of the more well-received rivals that we've had in a long time. Because she was like friendly, but she was also like very competitive. She wanted to win. She wanted to beat you. She wasn't just like this hold your hand rival that was just like your buddy. Which I think a lot of people then are really looking forward to her being in an app. Pokemon Go got an update. Paldea Pokemon are coming which I actually think is really funny because the Paldea starters are coming before the generation before their starters are coming. They don't have Generation 8 starters in the game, but they're adding Generation 9. I think people are more confused than angry about that, but that's just what they decided to do. But obviously the big bang boom is the DLC. We finally have a release date. I believe it's September 13th.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe September 13th is the Teal Mask. It is the first of 2 DLCs coming, which is honestly way sooner than I thought. I thought it was gonna be like mid to late October. So it's really cool that we got something coming really, really, really soon. We got to see a lot of new different Pokemon. Do I spoil? Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to spoil anything if people haven't seen it, but like, I don't know. Like, there was just a lot of really cool things.
Like what? Like, if it's in the presents, I think we can talk about it. It's up
okay. If it's in the presents, then we got a new Evo of Applin. We have Diplin, which I think is just super funny. We have a new evolution to Duraludon, Archaludon. He is apparently supposed to be like a suspension bridge. We got a little bit more into like the lore of what's going to be happening. We're going to be going on a school trip, and then got a lot more information about the second DLC as well, the Indigo Disc, I think it's called. Yeah. Which looks honestly really, really cool. I love the giant like ecosystem that's split into 4. We see so many new Pokemon. I think a lot of people are definitely looking forward to that. We can talk about some of the things that people are potentially sad about in a little bit, but I'm going to kick it over to Lindsv because I feel like I just talked for a bit.
I mean, yeah, everything he said. I mean, there's not really too much I can add on to that. I mean, I posted it on Twitter to just like change it of like, this is what happened, to just like people's perception of it. I know a lot of people were wanting like, I want another side game to be announced. I want X, Y, and Z. They didn't announce this, therefore it was a bad presents. I think that people need to understand that you can't complain about Scarlet and Violet being rushed and not feeling complete, and then walk into a presents expecting another like Legends game immediately before we even get DLC for these games. I think that you just have to give them more time. And Pokemon is notoriously known for dropping bigger titles for Pokemon Day anyways. So even if you were to put it on like a time frame perspective, it wouldn't make sense for them to announce big side games and then have DLC 1 and 2. And then immediately after DLC 2 comes out, Pokemon Presents happens. Mm-hmm. So then what do you want for Pokemon Presents? Well, you would want another big game or another 2 side. It's just not a realistic time frame for them. It's just not. So that's the one thing. The only thing Vandy didn't touch on really is the fact that Pokemon Stadium 2 is coming to Nintendo Switch Online, which is super massive. Again, it was received and not received all at the same time, because then people stomped their foot and were like, I want Crystal, I want red and blue, and I want this. Well, here's the thing to that as well. And this is a conversation that people aren't ready to have and don't realize. Nintendo's being very strategic as to why they're dropping specific Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch Online. That is because Nintendo has a very big problem with cloning when it comes to Pokemon. And so by doing things through a cloud save storage that Nintendo Switch Online does, it opens the entire world to cloning Pokemon, and the entire thing that Nintendo is trying to stop right now because it's a really big issue. And a lot of news sources were even covering it. So, I mean, this is like a direct quote from someone that says, the most important reason Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy and Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy Advance support cloud saves. As you all know, this is a big no-no for Game Freak due to cloning Pokemon. Assuming that they're going to give home compatibility, because there's no reason for them not to give home compatibility onto a system like that. So in order for them to do it in a way that prevents cloning and abusing of the system, and then these Pokemon making their way to Worlds or whatever it is when they're illegal at that point, they need to develop their own separate app that disables cloud saves altogether. So they're probably coming to Nintendo Switch Online, but they have to figure out a way to get around that. Otherwise, it's going to basically break their entire system that they have going on right now. And it's going to cause a lot of corruption from within. So that's a really big thing that people aren't recognizing and aren't considering. But I guess if you're not into the competitive side of Pokemon, you're probably like, cloning isn't really on the agenda. But that's the main reason. So a lot of people behind the scenes are thinking that they're working on their own specific version of basically Nintendo Switch Online that'll just get tagged onto it, so you don't have to pay additionally on top of Nintendo Switch Online, but it's Pokemon specific section, so you don't have to worry about cloud saving data. But overall, I thought the Presents was really, really fun, really cool. I predicted it to a T. Because this is typically what you get around this time, you know? So the only thing I was predicting was that they're going to announce Detective Pikachu, a movie. And I still think that's probably still on the table. I just think that that's probably just going to come later, and they didn't choose to put it in the Presents itself. Because the entire direct theme was basically Mewtwo and Detective Pikachu-esque. So I thought that was cool. I did a whole thing because there were a lot of rumors behind the scenes of it was going to be a very Mewtwo heavy Presents, which it was. But to make that more tolerable for my chat, where they were almost rooting for it instead of being like, oh my God, it's Mewtwo again, was I put a toaster on my desk, and I said, I'm going to butter 1 slice of toast for every single time Mewtwo is either brought up or mentioned. And so we had a stack of toast this big by the end, to the point where I went through an entire loaf of bread, and I had to go get more bread at the store because my family had no more bread in the house. But as Paul also said in the chat as well, you guys get a free Mew. So if you guys have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you guys can go into the mystery gift section. The code is Get Your Mew. It's a 0 instead of an O in the word your, but
they do a good thing where they don't always X'd out. You can't use O or any letters that look similar. So you have to put a 0.
Get
your Mew.
But it'll be a random Terra type, so your Mew will be different from someone else's Mew. It's not likely that you'll run across someone who has the same Mew as you, which is really cool. So you have that going on, and then if you're in Pokemon Unite, you also got a free Mew and Mewtwo emblem. But same thing, you go into Pokemon Unite and you type those codes and you get platinum emblems of those 2 Pokemon.
And then Mewtwo, right? Terra raid that's happening on
Yes.
Pokemon?
Mewtwo Terra raids are coming. I believe it's September 1st is when the first one comes. They're doing. I think I saw something where they're also doing like a few waves before September 1st of other Terra raid bosses. I believe I saw Scizor and 2 others that are escaping my brain, but they're just getting you prepared and stuff like that. But there will be a Mewtwo Terra raid coming. So, and he's gonna be stupid hard, is what I'm assuming, because he's a 7-star. But
I have a
it's a whole
question.
lot of Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Yes,
Did you eat the toast?
I did actually.
Okay.
I
That's
didn't
what
want
I
to just like
cared
straight
about
up
out of
eat
all
on
of that.
stream, but I ate the toast and then I brought it downstairs and I put it up for like free game for anyone in my house who wanted toast. And then the little like side pieces that weren't just like covered in butter, I used as dog treats for the entire rest of the day.
Nice.
They thought it was great.
That's good. That's awesome.
yeah.
And I want to add to what Linz was saying about the expectations that we go into when we go into these type of events. You have to take a step back, right? Look, there's a Pokemon Presents announced. Look at it, get excited about it. After you do that, take a step back. Where are we in the year? Okay, what's happening around us? Okay, and then once you get all that information, you can come up with your own little. Okay, yeah. So this is happening. That takes away this. For example, right now we are in a transition from Switch to the next gen console. Anything could happen. There's so many rumors out there. Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show. There's a lot of stuff that's happening out there, and where you can't expect a major Pokemon game to be released right at the end of the Switch, when normally Pokemon games come in the middle where there's already a big install base on a console, right? And so that itself tells you, yeah, we're not getting any major Pokemon games. Second, what Linz was saying, we were still expecting DLC, and the DLC we're expecting is huge, is big.
Yeah,
There's a lot. I mean, it's like you're getting 2 more games out of Scarlet and Violet, 2 more games plus more. So, I mean, it's a lot, So basically, when you go into Pokemon Presents at the beginning, they're gonna talk about Pokemon Worlds. They're gonna talk about the contests, tournaments. Expect that. Then they move over to the mobile, right? Mobile, and we know that we got Pokemon Sleep, so they talk about Pokemon Sleep. They talk about Unite. They talk about all the other Pokemon updates coming to the mobile area. Then they'll move over to maybe the console part, right? Not console. Then they move over to TV, right? TV and shows, because there are shows coming, right? There's a new show coming up. Is it Pokemon Horizons? Is it?
Yes.
My brain, look at me. I'm like,
you're doing great.
Well
You're
done.
crushing it.
You're doing real well.
My coffee, look, never give up. But the game they announced those shows, which is pretty good. I know a lot of people out there are attached to Ash. I actually find it very interesting, these shows, and I want to start watching them just because they're 3 different stories, 3 different kind of Pokemon stories. Kind of they're not masters yet. They're just 3 journeys that eventually meet, right? And then they all have their strengths, which is very interesting, right? So, what do you have thoughts, Mandy?
I mean, there's a lot, but yeah, I don't think I've ever had. I stopped watching the Pokemon anime around Generation 4, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But with this new transition, like I'm with everyone where I was absolutely devastated when I learned obviously that Ash isn't going to be the anime. I hadn't even watched the last like 5 seasons of his journey, but like that was my hero. That was my guy growing up. So learning that he's gone, that definitely hit. But I've never wanted to watch Pokemon since Generation 4, really. But I like you, I'm just more curious than anything.
Yeah.
About how they're going to go about this, what they're going to do. Because obviously they're probably going to bring back cameos of people that we do know, but they're probably not a ton because they want to start this new generation, this new era. But I'm very curious just what they're going to do, because Pokemon has also never had a show or anything really without Ash. Like he was the human Pikachu. Like he was everywhere. So I'm just for curiosity standpoint, I'm just curious what the show is going to be. So I honestly will probably watch it. Yeah.
Me too. So it looks interesting, and let's see where they go with it. Maybe this kind of spins out to other things. I know the Pokemon from Legends of Violet and Scarlet they're part of the show too. that new show? I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like the.
I know
Holiday of
Coco was really,
Pokemon.
really heavily announced there in part of that
My
show.
goat.
Yeah, so that's my pick. That's my pick for Coco.
I have a Pokemon question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
So, is Ash is he like gone?
Yes.
Like
He's not dead. He's just
He's not, he's not like passed away.
He's retired
He is moving
from
on.
our understanding.
Okay,
It's a
so
small
he retired.
spoiler,
So basically what happened was he went on his journey. He went to a region that is similar in concept to Hawaii.
Mhm.
There was a championship there where if you beat all the people, you became champion of Hawaii, basically, to put it in easy terms. He became champion of Hawaii with an owl, a Pikachu.
Yeah, very interesting team.
Very interesting team. He should not have won, but he did.
No.
Immediately afterwards, they're like, all right, so we're going to take the champion of every single region in the world, and all of the champions are going to have this massive tournament where it's the best of the best to now see who's best in the world. So Ash made it all the way to the tippy top and won that. And so it's kind of one of those things where do you go from that? Right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now that he's had like 15 different seasons of anime, he's had so many. Like, there's not really a plot for him anymore. So they changed it to like kids who actually have a plot now. So he could still be in the show, but it's probably going to be like a retired version of Ash of like, this is now what he decided to do now that he's no longer. And it'll probably be more of like a cameo kind of thing. But the story itself is going to be the 3 new kids.
See, I got the impression that he had passed away, and I was like,
no,
because I've never watched Pokemon. You guys know I don't know anything about it, but I mean, I know what I see, what I read, and things like that. And I was like, wow, bold mood, Cotton. Let's see how it pans out.
Kind of
no, they didn't kill him.
I mean, they tried. They have tried before in the past.
Well, technically, he has died like
He
6
has died,
times in movies. He just comes back. He doesn't believe in death.
Wait, the Dragon Ball brings back?
bring him back from
Not
stones to life.
The power of friendship.
Yeah, it is, and like Pikachu tears.
Because I just know that
as long as Pikachu's there, he's immortal.
It seems like it.
What,
The
Joycie?
Pikachu is like level 9 billion now.
well, the thing is like as a writer, when we kill off a character, that's why I was like, did he pass away? Like what? I was like, even I expect I know who Ash is sort of, but I know he's part of Pokemon and everything else just from what I've heard. So the thing is, when you kill off a big character, you got to have like a really good reason, and you have to make sure if you kill him off. I know a lot of shows play with that whole, okay, let's see how ticked off the audience is and then bring them back. So they might have like a loose death. Like me, I'm like, nah, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die. If I'm writing the story. So, but there's usually a really, 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 really good reason, and that means the writers can back it up basically, and they're like, yes, we understand you love this character, but we have to move on because this is a big deal. What's coming next? And then the audience is probably still mad at you, but they're entertained and they're still going to continue to watch or read or whatever. That's the reason why I was asking. But I'm low-key glad that he's like not gone. He's just probably gonna retire.
I wonder if they'll age him up, which would be a really interesting take.
Yeah.
Because
I believe he will.
He's been 10 years old for 26 years.
Right.
If they do a legit time skip in the world of Pokemon, he could be a 36-year-old, Pokemon master in his prime, showing up here and there, in the world.
Maybe he'll run around and give advice.
The new trilogy, the new trio look up to, and stuff like that, like a legend. Or it could just take place a couple of years later, and he's now 14 or 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
Hard to say, but it'll be curious. I'm curious to see where it goes. September is where we'll finally get to see the North American air of those final 12 episodes. Spoiler if you've already tuned into Japan, so you kind of know how it ends, but that transition is going to be good. I think it's a good time for Pokemon in general. Beginning August 11th, if I'm not mistaken, and just a couple more days, we get the short anime series on YouTube. So that's more free material. And regarding the Pokemon Presents, presentation itself, it's kind of interesting because, if you're a broad Pokemon fan that likes a lot of it, I think you liked it. If you're a small Pokemon fan that is only in it for the main entries, then not as much of it is there for you. However, you could argue that the new DLC is compelling, and that comes out in September, and then another one in winter, which means no later than December, because they said winter 2023, not just winter season, which technically could be up to like early March. So
Yeah.
you know, there's enough for you there. You know, you're not going to get Pokemon companies saying, by the way, we are releasing a patch starting now to fix any errors, issues. No, it's just going to be silently rolled out, or maybe they'll say, you know, new update, fixing issues or something like that, but nothing to, you know, admitting to errors and that kind of thing. But the thing is, who goes on YouTube and wakes up at 6 a.m. Pacific time to watch these things, 9 a.m. you know, Eastern, etc.? It's the hardcore gaming audience that's on Twitter, X, social media, YouTube, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, etc. So those are the ones that are the adults of that, you know, audience that watch it and criticize it the most. But that's also who they made it for, which is to be watched by them. So it's kind of this contrast of you're marketing something so big to everyone, but the people that are watching it up first and foremost are these niche folks that are like the more hardcore audience. However, if you break it down into bite-sized chunks, like here's the Pokemon Sleep update, here's the Pokemon Go update. By the way, you know, you input this code and you get, you know, terrestrialized Mew for this game. You input this code and you boom, boom, here's the cartoon. Then you start getting the moms and dads and the folks out there that aren't super glued in, that like, oh, that was a cool little thing. They're not going to wake up at 6 o'clock to watch this 35-minute presentation. So much like how Twitter formerly made a lot of hubbub about like cancel Pokemon Sword and Shield, boycott Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, we'll show them. You hear 10, 20, 100,000 angry voices that make up a small percentage of the 30 million people that are going to buy the game. My son or daughter have never once complained about Pokemon Sword, Shield, Scarlet, Violet, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, not looking a certain way, playing a certain way, not being as high fidelity or having as much geometry as Tears of the Kingdom. They do see the difference in how much more you could do in Breath of the Wild, but they also acknowledge that it's a different game. Super Mario Odyssey, Animal Crossing, they're different games. It doesn't make this thing bad. And they're enjoying it. And you know what? Their friends are enjoying it. And I hear from fellow friends that have kids themselves, like, yeah, there are no complaints. It's a small percentage. But you know, sometimes the small percentage is a very vocal group. So when you look online, I was watching that Pokemon Presents stream. I woke up early. I live streamed it. All those folks are the negative comments. Boom, 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 boom. That's not going to impact the sales. So it's weird that they market it for everyone, but not everyone is tuning in. It's a different audience. So maybe in the future, if they do care more about like the like to dislike ratio, not that it's publicly visible anymore, or if they do care about more social media positive awareness, be a little more choicey in condensing that thing down, because you probably could have gotten away with like a 20-ish minute presentation instead of 35, or break it up, or go ahead and, you know, give the dog a bone and throw in one meaty one. But kind of like Lindsv was saying earlier, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have so much life left to live. Do you want to cannibalize your sales of that game by showing off the next one now, or do you want to milk that one for as much as it's worth? And yeah, you know, also like Lindsv and Mandy were saying, I think, you know, on Pokemon Day next year, maybe now you can expect the bigger one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not every event is going to have this blockbuster. It's like a TV show. It's like a live sporting event. It's like a roller coaster. Not the whole roller coaster, not the whole WWE live thing is full of 10 out of 10 matches. Because if it were, you would have your voice shot and you would have your energy blown right away. They purposely have things go like this, like a roller coaster ride, so that you have and much like these presentations throughout the year, not just for the half hour, but throughout the year, also ups and downs so that you could kind of build up that appreciation, build up that anticipation, get satisfied, be hungry, get satisfied. They mostly know what they're doing. Could they perfect the formula a little more to have less hate online? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's going to make money. And most people out there, even though you're not hearing about it, are satisfied with what was shown. But you won't hear it online necessarily. Sorry, that's my little my Pokemon bit because.
No, you're good. You're good. What you were saying was actually making me think. So that's why I went ahead and grabbed some stuff here. And I'm like I believe the Pokemon Presents. I found that a little short. I think because I wanted to see. I was actually enjoying everything that I was seeing. Like I enjoyed seeing the Pokemon Worlds presentation and what they were doing out there.
So cool.
I mean, they're on a freaking cruise, and they have this beautiful cruise out there where players can go inside the cruise, enjoy an entire cruise, plus play Pokemon with each other. We can play cards with each other and just have a great time. Everybody's faces were just so. Man, it was just so livid. It's like, yeah, you Pokemon, you become a Pokemon master. This is their chance to live their Pokemon master dream, going to these tournaments, making, with a whole bunch of other people who love not just the anime. Because what I've noticed is that Pokemon is just so massive, right? We have people who just love the anime and they're just devoted to it. We have people that just love the games, and the games when it comes to Switch and and mobile, and they're devoted to it. And then we have people who just love the cards, right? And they're so devoted to it. And I'm like, wow, Pokemon is like, I think is the biggest, it has to be the biggest franchise right now in the world when it comes to everything they're doing. Right? I'm like, I've had this box here. I've never opened it. Came with this thing here. Like what do I have?
The battle deck.
It's the battle deck, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what I have in here. I'm like, maybe I have some good stuff in here that I have. And then I have
there's a shiny in there.
No, and I have about 10 more packs of these just laying there, closed down. One of them has to do with Sword and Shield. Other ones is from different areas like that. I'm like, man, looking at those people playing Pokemon cards, I want to get in there and just open this deck of cards and just start shooting cards there.
Yeah,
everything looks so fun, much fun.
Right behind me, I have my old school original full Pokemon card deck, like right down there. But I never played the card game back in the day. I opened the cards, I collected them as art, I read the descriptions, I put it in the plastic, and that's it. That's how I collected them. So this is a little bit of a pitch, a little bit of a recommendation that if you were kind of like me and you don't want to get your cards ruined but want to play the game, the Game Boy Pokemon trading card game that was just dropped on NSO in addition to Pokemon Stadium 2, that's a fun trading card game. Nowadays, now that I have kids and we're getting multiple copies and stuff like that, I've actually been playing the real Pokemon trading card game. For like the first time in 20 years of being a collector, I've actually played the game, and it's a really fun game. We played it this afternoon, actually, my son and I. So I guess that's a little shout out to the Game Boy game that's now on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So some people don't want to get the cards bent and like just for collecting purposes, and you're kind of missing out on it's an actual game. And so I just within the last couple of years started playing for the it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, and I think it's a good way for people to learn actually how to play the TCG. I have no idea. Whenever I was a kid, I just was like higher number wins, you lose. I also didn't know multiplication when I played, so I thought 40x meant 40 times 40. So I thought I was doing like freaking 16,000 damage and just obliterated everyone in my path. But so I've never actually played it, but I gave away all my cards that I had as a kid, including like first edition Charizards, and I'm talking like tens of thousands of dollars worth of cards now. So I'm slowly trying to like replenish some of the OG ones that I have. Like I have a couple up here. Like I'm just slowly like I'm trading in like my newer ones. I don't even care how much they're worth. I'm like, do you have my old like base set, jungle set, and fossil set? I want them. I'm just gonna freaking give you these, and we're gonna like make a trade or something like that. And I'm also helping out like card companies. Like whenever Lindsvz and I go to like a convention, whether to work or to like just to have fun and like mess around, I'll bring my cards. And the card collectors, I'm like, which cards do you want of these? I don't know any of the value or anything like that. I open them just on stream for fun sometimes, and they're like, I want these. I'm like, okay, give me that. And they're like, okay. So like I'm starting to like recollect these like ones that I had as a kid, but I have no idea how to play it. But because it's actually kind of gaining a lot of popularity from Worlds, and like a lot of like creators are really trying to push just people just to like learn, just to learn how to do it. Cause like a lot more people are just collectathon people for like the hobby. But I think it's a really good way for people to learn. And like it's the OG base game. It's the first TCG game that they ever made. And I know a lot of people in my community have been sending me screenshots of like the cards that they're getting. I'm like, I don't even know what this means, but like, congrats, my dude. Like you're doing super well. But I think that was a cool, very unique game that they brought to the NSO, and then they brought Pokemon Stadium 2. And seeing those mini games hit me like a nostalgia bus.
Good.
The mini games in the first one, honestly, I played them. I forgot how kind of trash they were. I'm not gonna lie, they were not very.
If you're hungry for another Mario Party, like that's got enough that it's a good difference. Like treat yourself, play some Pokemon Party.
Yeah, like Pokemon Stadium 2 is really fun. I have if you guys don't mind, I have a prediction.
Yeah, go ahead.
That I really want to be true. So therefore I'm saying it now. The odds of it being true, probably pretty low. However, I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, whenever someone is upset that they're not getting the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Color games on the NSO, I believe they're not doing that because they're going to drop them when they drop the new console. I feel like the NSO on the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever they're going to do to kind of do similar stuff that they did with the Nintendo Switch, they're going to drop all of them on the Nintendo Switch 2. Because if you're not a big Mario fan, because we all believe that the new Mario game is going to be the big hit when they release the next gen console. That's why we're getting a 2D Mario game and then just an RPG that not many people probably saw coming. We're going to be getting probably a 3D Mario game to bundle with the Nintendo Switch. For some weird reason, I have a theory that they are going to put all of the OG Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever the fluff they're going to call it as well. Because we're not going to be getting a new Pokemon game right when it drops. We will be getting it probably a few months afterwards, or even like a good chunk afterwards if they're finally taking their time making their games. So, but I believe that we're going to get red, blue, yellow, fire, red, leaf, green, silver, ruby, emerald, sapphire, and all of like just the massive nostalgia ones. I believe we're getting on the Nintendo Switch 2 and not the Nintendo Switch. I don't know why I think that, but that is my prediction right here, right now.
I agree.
I think it
makes sense.
The chat
could be copied and years from now or a year from now pasted.
That's again, it's a very interesting thing. For all we know, they're not even making Nintendo Switch 2, and we're all just wrong. But I don't think that's gonna be a thing.
I want you to open the card, so I have no idea what I'm looking at right here. Chat, look, there's a
Inteleon W.
That one, that's a Pokemon card that's upside down. I think it's like an energy, right? This is called energy.
Yes.
Hey, I know stuff.
I used to get so many of those as a collector, and now as a player, it was always annoying getting those.
You share all the energy
cards. Like, I'm collecting art. I don't want to play.
You're all energies. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, it's a battle deck. So your entire deck is based around Inteleon, is what that is. So your energies are what you need in order for Inteleon to be able to use its moves. So you're gonna have a lot of energies in there. It's basically a deck that's built to support Inteleon as like your core, essentially. Okay. So you're gonna have a lot of water in there.
A lot of water. Inteleon. I don't know who that is. Is that from SpongeBob?
Is what from SpongeBob?
No.
I don't think you're opening the right packs, Big Cat.
Professor
Krabby.
Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
Some guy.
I hate Hop. Inteleon's cool.
And Nintendolian.
Choodle. I love Choodle. Knockoff Portal. Mantine.
We got that
one
guy.
Should have evolved into.
We got. I don't know what that guy is.
Drizzle. That's the pre-evo of Inteleon.
We got this guy.
The Great Ball.
The Great Ball.
We got this guy.
Sobble baby, sobble baby, sobble baby, sobble.
That ball thing again.
And then you got some energies, which are used. I believe you use energies to use the moves that are on the card. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
You guys see there better?
Okay.
That one. And we got that one. And we got that one. I think this is the most valuable one right here. The energy ball. Got that one. Some Pokeball. Did I go over all of them already?
You're getting close. It's a lot of similar stuff. Yeah, Cramorant.
That one. We've got that.
The ordinary rod.
We got another energy ball. We got that thing. We got that thing. Similar, right? Are they duplicates?
I think you're now at the start.
Yeah, now you're at.
So a lot of decks, they contain kind of like multiple of some cards, especially like some of the trainer cards.
Yeah.
Because they do really like crucial things to your deck or to your turn. To where if you use one, obviously you can't use it again. So people will have multiple energies, multiple like the Pokemon. Like you'll have a couple Drizzile and stuff like that. I'm 99% sure there's probably rules to like EX cards and some of the bigger bang ones.
Yeah.
That you can't have multiple of those, I'm assuming. Or at least not like there's probably a max amount you can have. But yeah, I never learned. But if like someone that like I knew would have like taught me, I'm not sure how complicated it is. I'm sure it's easy to understand. I'm sure it's hard to master.
Yeah. And for the audio listeners, I was just showing off Pokemon cards on the screen. So come by the YouTube channel and look at the cards if you I think I only got this is the only special one here. The one that has like a little shiny stuff on it.
The holographic.
Yeah. Right. I learned that every deck has like one of them. Is that right?
Kind of, yes. So when you get a card or a pack, there's like a code card, and depending on what color the back of the code card is, or at least in the old days, I think they started to go away with it with some of the newer decks.
They're done with that now.
Yeah, well, in the past, with like all of the major decks prior to like Scarlet and Violet for the most part, your code card would either have green accents or it would have white accents. If you had a green card, it would be a standard deck, which therefore yours is white, I think, because it has the hollow.
So. Yeah,
because it has the hollow.
Yeah.
So if you got a green card, you wouldn't get a hollow at all. If you got a white card, that's when you would either know for a guarantee that you would at least at minimum have a hollow, if not a full art or higher.
Okay.
Yeah, so thankfully they got rid of that a lot of the times, because even like creators who do TCG openings, sometimes if you don't open the pack right, if you immediately see the code card and it was green, I don't know why they did that. I'm sure it probably had something to do with the TCG itself.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to like, see the code card and then just like, you already know, oh, this sucks. It kind of it takes away the suspense, because if you're opening cards, it's the suspense. It's the, what are we going to get? Are we going to get a hit? And so now they've taken that away. Every card, that it could have something. And they did another kind of a big change, I guess, to Pokemon packs, to where it used to be like during the OG days, it was just you either get a hollow or you got nothing. Now it's and then fast forward probably like 10 years, you got a reverse hollow, which is instead of like the square with the actual Pokemon being shiny, it was everything else. It was kind of like the border, it was where the words were. That's the reverse hollow, and then you would potentially get a hollow. Now there's a reverse hollow that's always a reverse hollow.
Yeah.
The second card is either another reverse hollow or like a secret rare, which is like it's normally like a really pretty looking card of like kind of a random Pokemon, or like a gold card or something really, really like magical. And then after that, you might get another hit. So the suspense is crazy, but you get a lot more bang for your buck now, because there's like alternate arts, there's full arts, which is where the Pokemon covers the whole card. There's gold, which I think is like a secret rare. There's trainer art galleries where like you have full art trainer card. There's just like a lot more that you can get now, where in the OGs it was just like Pokemon, energy, and then the big hit at the end, which I guess some people probably preferred it the old way, but TCG's definitely come a long way for sure.
That's pretty cool.
Can I say something? I've been holding on to this one for a while.
Do it.
So at Anime Weekend Atlanta, I actually got to meet not only the English director for the Pokemon anime, but also a lot of the people who work behind the scenes and are voice actors for the Pokemon anime itself. And I saw that there were people in the chat who were like, Ash never aged. He's been 10 for 25 years, whatever it was. So they talked directly about that, because people were allowed to do Q&As and stuff with the English director, and were like, hey, so like, why isn't Ash getting older? And they basically said that the whole, like, they want to make it so birthdays and time is never talked about in Pokemon. ever. So that is a very big thing about that. And I think in the entire history of Pokemon, there's only 2 birthdays that ever happen, and they're never for Ash. But they said something you very much so have to keep in mind, and this is kind of what they play off of a lot, is for us, it's been 26 years because we're only seeing 1 day of Ash's life once a week for technically 15, 20 minutes by the time you factor in commercials. If you do the math and you actually break it down to Ash living all of those days as if it would have been us releasing an anime episode every single day to fill up an actual like 24-hour time cycle, it ends up being less than a year. I think in Ash's entire experience, someone did the math. I think it's actually only 7 months that Ash did all of this. And so they're like, if you think about it, the time that it normally takes us, if you get the game, to sit down, go to each region, complete everything, it kind of falls in within a normal pattern. So they're able to do all of this because they talk about it very openly in the anime. They're taking boats, they're taking trains, they're flying, they're doing all this stuff. It's not like he's on foot constantly. It all adds up to actually like a reasonable time period. And so that's a part of the reason why you don't see Ash mature very often. No one else around him is really aging either. So it's not like everyone else in the anime is aging and Ash just mysteriously is not. But that's just kind of one of the things that they talked about. And they said by doing that, it makes it so that way they can preserve and reuse as many characters as they want without having to worry about like, okay, well, now what happens to Professor Oak because it's been 25 years? Can we just no longer use Professor Oak? Because at that point, he's kind of, you know what I mean?
97.
Right, exactly. So that's kind of what they said. And that you'll notice very much in the anime that those are kind of the trends that they follow. Age is never mentioned and that kind of stuff. But it's all intentional and that nothing is ever not, and that they get that question a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But they said it all should technically fall into like less than 3 years of Ash actually doing everything, which realistically seems legit. If you're flying and you're taking boats and I mean, like the side episodes are like, oh my gosh, Ash rescued a Growlithe who was scared in a den. Darn, that's like three hours of his life, not an entire days/weeks of his time worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know, that's what they said. It's really intentional. It was really cool to talk to him though.
The thing is that they've had that already prepared. That just makes perfect sense. And if they went with that state of mind from the very beginning of the show and leading on to the show, okay, this is just a day in the life of Ash, or a couple of hours or minutes, you know. So it makes sense to put it all together. Then he doesn't have to age because it hasn't been a year since he's done all this stuff. So that means that Ash is actually pretty good.
Ash mastered it quicker than I did.
Right? Because imagine if the entire series was 7 months. Let's say that. How long did it take him to get his first?
Yeah, probably like 4
days.
Four. No, it was probably like 7 months, actually, or like 6 months. Because when he won, the tournament was like the next thing, right? They didn't have like I'm kind of like asking Lindsay as well. They didn't have like a Galar. They had like Pokemon Generation Journeys.
The voice of Leon was there. So that was
Leon.
It was during Journeys. Because they were talking about it. They said Alola was their favorite show to work on. They said of all of them, they said the Alola anime was definitely the best. But at that point in time, Journeys wasn't finished. No.
Yeah. But the big thing is that he had to win. If he didn't win Kalos, which was the anime series beforehand, that's the one that everyone says he should have won. And I think a lot of people agree, not necessarily for writing or for anything else other than it was a great battle with the end, with like his ending opponent, and his team was nasty. His team was actually like a well-constructed, fully evolved, competitive team, good move sets, like, as not necessarily like in the game, but they actually was like a well-built team, and he still lost. And then he had a worse team, the series afterwards, and he won it. But if he didn't win Kalos, he had to win Alola, because the big thing about the tournament was that Leon, which is technically the Generation 8 guy, was the unbeatable champion. He was the guy. He was the one that never lost. He was this big bad mother trucker that just like always won. And that was, that was the last Everest that Ash had to climb.
I beat him. And Pokemon
well, now Ash got to beat you, Big Cat.
what game was it that we had Leon in?
Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield,
that was Galar. Yeah. So there was no like anime written in Galar. There was just like Journeys, which was just like him and Go kind of doing like some Pokedex stuff.
Yeah.
Because there couldn't have really been something in Galar because Ash would have eventually had to have fought Leon, and they wanted to save that fight to prove Ash is the best that there ever was, because Leon was thought of as the unbeatable champion, like no one could beat him. And Ash obviously did. A lot of people this is probably a whole conversation for another time. A lot of people thought he definitely should not have won that. Just a lot of things come in just in terms of like the gimmicks that he was able to use in terms of Z moves, Megas, Gigantamax, and like how one of Leon's Pokemon genuinely kind of got one shot. Just a lot of people were like I don't think people were necessarily upset that Ash won. I think they could have written the battle to where it looked more earned rather than more main character plot armor is what a lot of people describe it as. I haven't seen the fight yet. I kind of want to say I've seen some snippets here and there. I've obviously seen the final scene, which was just real emotional, but like I haven't seen the full fight, so I can't give an opinion yet. But I know a lot of people they're not complaining, oh, Ash, we wanted Ash to lose. It was he shouldn't have won as the battle was going on. Like some things happened where they're like, how? So I'm honestly kind of excited. I'm kind of curious, but we went, Lindsay and I went to like a convention, and we went to a panel, and they were talking about the final battle. And a lot of people are like, a lot of people in a consensus about a specific point in the battle where they're like, how in the world did this happen? Look at this plot armor. Like they could have just written it a little bit better in terms of probably how the battle went to make it a little bit closer. So I don't know.
Yeah. And this is a good segue because we're talking about Ash's journey, which took 20 something years, 26. Right? And a long time. And there was this topic that Joycie talked to me about yesterday about the length of games nowadays, right? How long we're making, for example, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a bigger game than Sword and Shield. And it's a longer game, takes more time to play. We have 3 different stories at the same time, right? And we can put in Tears of the Kingdom how this game is just 3 times as big as Breath of the Wild, and there's so much to do there, right? And so you have the underground, you have the entire, and then you have the skies. And Joycie she brought this question up, so I want her to share her thoughts and to also ask the rest of us what she wants to ask, because it's
sure.
Go ahead, Joycie.
First of all, our favorite cousin's about to roll out. So, cousin Paul. Yes, everyone in the chat, in case you don't know, we've all adopted. I've adopted all of them as my cousins. So, cousin Paul is first cousin. Then there's cousin Vandy and cousin Lindsay, and cousin Mike. But do you think games in general, not just Pokemon, but games in general, do you think they're too long these days? It seems like everything's something massive hit, massive everything. I've even heard with Final Fantasy 16 that it can kind of be almost as long as you want it to be. So some final thoughts on that before you leave us.
I mean, Paul, do you want to answer that before you gotta go?
Is Paul still with us?
Oh, I think there he is.
I didn't hear the last one. What was the last part of the question?
I was just saying, with games these days, do you feel that they're too long? Because it seems like everything is massive and big and an event almost. So how do you feel about that? Final thoughts before you go.
I don't think it's necessarily every game is too long. I mean, I used to have kind of a rough equation, which I heard a lot of people have a similar thought. Like, if you pay $60 for a game and if you get 60 hours out of it, that's a $1 per hour equation, and that justified the purchase. But I have long since said that that's not necessary because there were so many games like Beautiful Joe, that's like a 12-hour experience, or Prince of Persia, a 15-hour experience, that the amount of quality and fun that you're getting in that short amount of time is so worth it. And some games have a high replay factor that you could play multiple times or visit multiple months or years later. So it's kind of indefinite exposure. And, you know, sometimes a game could be too much or too big that, depending on how long it takes to experience all of the gameplay, all of the story, you might get burnt out. And then you're left with sort of an unfulfilled experience where you got a really big game, you spent a lot of money, you got a lot of hours, and it's still chugging along, and maybe it's too long and you don't quite finish it, you know? So I think a push for developers these days is probably that pressure is there to make games big and long, but I don't think it's necessary. It's quality is better than length, but you also don't want to have something too short unless if it's deliberate, like maybe a game of Tetris. But then you're probably not getting $60 full-priced Tetris games or puzzle games of that ilk. They're sort of reduced or they're digital. So there's this fine line between, how much gameplay you're supplying, how long is an adventure, how much does it cost, the overall replay factor. So games too long in general, I don't think so, because there's still plenty of smaller, shorter titles. But yeah, developers shouldn't feel pressure to make the biggest, just make the best. But I do that was a good question. Sorry, I didn't hear part of that audio clipped out. This happened a couple times tonight, but I was able to hear everyone just for that brief moment. But yeah, I guess that's my final. Thank you.
Thank you, cousin Paul.
All right, everybody. Paul, Gale,
thanks for talking to us, Paul.
Have a good rest of the night's conversation. And I'll
Goodbye,
see you
Mr.
on
Paul.
All right, everybody follow Paul Gale on Twitter, on YouTube.
True.
Go watch his latest video, Tears of the Kingdom. Is it a review crew of Tears of the Kingdom is on his channel right now. So if you guys go subscribe to Paul, it'll be awesome. You guys won't regret his content. Is awesome. And by the way, he's going to Nintendo Live. That's going to be on his channel too. So I know I'm going to be glued to that.
Nice.
All right, Paul. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Later, Paul.
Rest
Bye,
of the
everybody.
time.
Take care.
Send love to the family and the kids.
Will do. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think Vandy and I have opinions as well to Joyce's question.
Awesome. I did want to elaborate a little bit more, but I wanted Paul to get some of his thoughts in before he left. So here's the thing, because for me, I take a game for what it is. I want it to experience what the developers are trying to basically convey. So if it's a $1 million hour game, well, first of all, I'm getting my money's worth. Some games can be. I talk a lot about Octopath Traveler. That is easily a 100-hour game. People are like, oh, well, it's it basically looks like a really good SNES game, but the content and all the things you have to do and all the things you have to master, and it's turn-based style, and you really have to think about it and everything. It's a wonderful game for what it is. My favorite game that might be getting taken over by Tatka, but it's always been A Link to the Past. Now I could play A Link to the Past in an afternoon. It takes about 6 hours. Of course, when I was a kid and growing up, we didn't have all this internet and guides online and everything else. So that game was meant to be. It was designed to be stretched out. Teams like that do the real big Pokemon games, the really big Zelda games, real big Final Fantasy games. They're really not designed to be played in a week. They're not designed that way. And I feel that, but then, and on the other side, let's take something like Splatoon, which I always talk about. I love Splatoon. Splatoon single player doesn't need to be more than 20 hours. Nobody, as much as I like Splatoon, I like the single player mode. I like that there's all these little Easter eggs and all these things to find. Nobody really picks up Splatoon saying, I can't wait to play the single player. We all play for multiplayer. Yeah. We all play so we can all just completely go ham in, tower control and Rainmaker, some of the best modes in the game. So I don't need that to be 100 hours. I don't know if I want Splatoon to be 100 hours, But if they came out with one, I would say, okay, well, there's must be a reason that it's 100 hours. So my whole point is, for me, because I've seen this question floating around online, I saw it on another podcast and everything, and I said, are games too long, or is life trying to move too fast? Because the week Taka came out, people were beating it like within that week and 2 weeks, and I'm like, did you all just not? What did you do? What did you do? Beat Ganon with a tree branch? What? Did you even talk to anybody? Did you do anything? Are you really getting your money's worth? Because people complain so much that it was a $70 game, but I'm like, I can't go to Dave & Buster's with $70. I can't take my nieces and nephews to Chuck E. Cheese for $70. Okay, so $70 for a game that big is money well spent. My first playthrough was 530 hours. I don't know what my second playthrough is going to end up being. So really quick, the average mainline Pokemon game, about on average, how long is that? When it's fresh out the gate, you don't know where to go, what to do, and you're just feeling it out. And you're playing at your leisure, having fun with it. About how many hours is that? I know, Vandy, leisure is that thing that you have when you're not overworked and overbooked. And I know it is hard to find leisure time.
I believe when Scarlet and Violet came out, the main people said it will take you approximately 140 hours to do like everything.
That's a healthy amount of time for a game.
But
they said if you want to like fully experience it,
a lot of people don't like the everything.
Yeah.
Meaning catching every single Pokemon, getting the shiny charm, doing all of the tear raids, stuff like that, doing some of the side games. People just want to get their team of 6 and beat the game. And that won't take long.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But a lot of people are like that with Zelda games. I just want the story and I'm out. I want to beat the dungeons and I'm out. And they miss all the fun little mini games, all the fun little dialogue. But of course, that's Pokemon for me. That's my game. So I want to, what's in this corner way over here across the map? I want to go across there. I want to catch all the horses. I want to talk to everybody. So I understand that. So I guess in a way, it's kind of like it can be as short or as long as you kind of want it to be in a way. So yeah, go ahead,
Linda.
We both went at the same time. That was really funny.
You can go first.
So, in my humble opinion, I think that Pokemon, Zelda, and probably Xenoblade are probably the top 3 Nintendo titles where I feel like you are absolutely 100% getting your money's worth when you buy a game. It is far more than you just getting like NBA 2K for the exact same price. You know what I mean? When it comes to just like stuff that you can do.
No shade to anybody who likes that game, but don't get me started on sports games.
Yeah.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like it's the same price point. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah, you can build teams and you can do it, whatever. But if you factor in how much comes in to a Pokemon game, when Scarlet and Violet first released, it was the first completely open world Pokemon game we have ever gotten. And there's technically an order to it, but when you first get the game, you don't know what the order is because there's it doesn't level scale. So you have to find the gym leaders and the team star people that are about the same level as you are. And if you're wrong, then you're just wrong and you're going to find out too little too late kind of a thing. So I think if you were to go into Scarlet and Violet completely blind, not even having a rough idea as to where you're supposed to go and who has the levels that are similar, because it kind of like bebops you like this all over the map. It really allows you to get lost in that game. And if you were to just experience it on top of the fact that it's a gigantic dex and you can just have the ability to find everything, shinies are everywhere, on top of just 3 different storylines that are all happening at the same time. Because you have your gym leader one, you have Titans, which are basically like giant versions of Pokemon that are like, I don't know, they're this whole thing. Then you have the Titans, and then you have the Team Star, which is like the hero versus villain story that has this crazy arc to it. You got 3 different storylines, and that's not even the end of it because there's so much more for you to do after you beat the game, and then you're getting 2 DLCs on top of it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I think for what you're paying for, when you compare it against other titles, you really are getting a lot because there's so much more that goes into it than just like a story-based game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my humble opinion on it.
Yeah,
Because one of the
but-
opinions I did read online, I'm going to say this real quick because I want to hear everybody's opinion. One of the opinions that I read online was, these games are eating up all my time. The Xenoblades, the Zeldas, Pokemon would, you said it was Arceus that was the open world one, right?
Scarlet and Violet's open world. Arceus was like the transition to test how that would kind of go.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the games that are a little bit longer and everything. And I'm thinking, and I guess, old lady back in my day story, games were not really long. Like I said, A Link to the Past is not very long. The first and second Zeldas really aren't very long, but it was designed in a way so you have to explore, you have to experience it. It took me years to beat A Link to the Past for the very first time. But it's a 6-hour game, basically. Because I know where everything is. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly where to go. So the thing about it is people are saying this is eating up all my time. And I'm just kind of thinking, well, we kind of live in a world where everything's microwaved and everybody kind of expects everything to be done within a few days, a few weeks. So I don't know if games are eating up our time or if maybe we're just not. Nobody, unfortunately, I'm going to always say, 90s kid. I'm always going to say me and Mike's era was the best era. I'm always going to say that because we had that time. So I don't know if the games are too long or if we just don't have time anymore. So, yeah.
I'm going to say one thing and then I'll toss it to Vandy. From a psychologist perspective, the really fascinating thing about video games and a main reason as to why they're so popular for so many people is because it's our escape from reality. And it is one of the only places that you can mentally transplace yourself to where every single person around you supports you, aside from like your rival in the game, right? Like you are made to be the hero. Everything is set up for you to succeed. And even if your life is going horrible, it's a group of people that are just supporting you, and you can walk out being a total BA, you know what I mean? And the other thing that people don't realize when it comes to Scarlet and Violet as well is this game was planned pre-pandemic, and this entire game was being planned and developed during a pandemic, and they were given a time frame in the pandemic. And so as we've talked about on this podcast several times before, Pokemon doesn't have wiggle rooms when it comes to titles. Pokemon has never delayed a game ever. So whether the game was ready to come out or not, they were forced to go with that specific, for it to come out when it did. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. And so is it as polished as they wanted it to be? No. Were they forced to release it when they did? Not at gunpoint, but you know what I mean? Like metaphorically,
I know what you mean.
Of you have to do it here and now. Yes. Was all of this done in the pandemic when Japan got hit absolutely hard and Nintendo was not doing too well during the pandemic with just people having to work remote, not having the resources and just everything that went into it? I do think there is a little bit of grace that needs to go into it because all of the main people who were developing this game worked there to make this game and to even get it to a point where it was runnable and able to release. And I think that those people who wasted all their blood, sweat, tears, and nights sitting there awake, they deserve a bit of credit. And I mean, yes, the game does deserve to be updated and it does deserve to have performance issues fixed. But I think that's what's coming out with the DLC. And I will pass it to Vandy. That is all I wanted to say. Thanks. Bye.
Come back later.
Okay. Well, I gotta go back to the original question, or if our game's too long, or is life moving too fast? I think the one baseline is it's how you play a game. Like obviously, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet could be 140 hours if you wanted it. If you wanted to explore everything and take your time with it, I could probably beat Scarlet and Violet in about 9 because I grab one Pokemon, I blitz through the game with it. I beat Pokemon BDSP because I wanted to shiny hunt a Pokemon that was coming out. I beat it in 5 hours. It's not hard. It's not hard to beat specific games. But also for BDSP, there was a lot of content I just didn't do because I had a specific goal in mind for content. And so that game also probably was like a 50 to 60 hour game. And it was just like a remake of a faithful remake of a game that we had already gotten. But I think it's how you play the game. And then for me personally, I don't necessarily mind like the length of the game. Obviously, I don't want a short game unless it's, if it's something like Detective Pikachu and it's only like a 5 to 6 hour game. Like I'll sure, I'll pay $30 for it or 40. I'm not paying a full one if it's not gonna be that long of a game. For me, it's not the length of the game, it's the replayability of it. And I think that's where one of the greatest Pokemon games to ever be created, I think that's where it was like most lackluster game to also ever be created, which is Pokemon Legends Arceus. It had probably had the best story, the best first run gameplay I have ever had in a Pokemon game. But once you're done, you're done. There's nothing else to do. There's no online. There's not really a post game besides one battle that like was kind of hard, I guess. Some people probably thought it was harder, but like it wasn't too hard. You're done. There's no like battle tower. There's no battle resort. There's no competitive online. There's no online anything. You can't play with friends. You can't link up with anyone. It's done. And so for me, it's like that was a phenomenal game, but arguably you don't get your money's worth because once you're done with the main story, which was pretty long, you're done. And like if you like shiny hunting, sure, go for it. Everyone got sick of shiny hunting really quickly. They're just now going back to it after over a year of it being released. And so for Pokemon games, the reason why I love them so much is that most of them have a really great replayability factor. You can get a new team. You can set out a new goal. You can set a challenge for yourself. Pokemon Legends Arceus didn't have a good battle system, which is 90% of Pokemon. It was ambitious and it fit the theme of like pre-established Pokemon trainer relationships. It was just like a very set early in the day type of game to where like people in Pokemon didn't really they coexisted, but they didn't really like battle together all that much. Like Pokemon just kind of walked around and we show up and just caught them all. Like that's kind of a big part of the game. But most Pokemon games, you can get a whole new team if you wanted to. You can go for your shiny dream team. You have competitive battling online against a bunch of other people. You can do singles. You can do doubles. You can do free-for-alls with a bunch of your friends. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you can get into the same game and play together and run around together. Obviously, there's still a shiny. There's just so much more in most games, which I believe is such a big factor into the selling point of Pokemon games. You have to have good replayability, and you have to have enough content to last. And I think with DLC that's coming out for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I think that's absolutely going to happen. That's what happened with Sword and Shield. Their DLC of the Crown Tundra lasted people so long because it was a great, smart thing to do that many people strived to do without getting too much into the details of what it was. So I have high hopes for the DLC coming out. But in terms of length of the game, it needs to be pretty long, but they need to think about replaying it, playing it again, playing it a second time. How can the second playthrough, the third playthrough, to be the fourth playthrough be all different from that first playthrough? So I think that is something that I think Pokemon normally does really well besides PLA on Pokemon Legends Arceus, unfortunately, because that is to this day one of my favorite Pokemon games. But like, I don't have a desire to replay through the story. I have
a question for you.
I can dig it.
So if you said Pokemon Legends Arceus is like a 60-hour game, rough.
Like,
that's what you said like the first time.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you were to break it down to the game being basically $1 per hour of you playing it, even if it's a one-time playthrough thing, does that still make it not worth your money?
It's not worth your money, but when I buy a Pokemon game, like I have replayed every Pokemon game multiple times besides PLA. I have beaten Fire Red minimum 10 times. I have beaten Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald minimum of 10 times. I've beaten Diamond, Pearl, Platinum more times than I could ever count. Generation 6, I've beaten so many times. Even Generation 5, I've beaten more than PLA, and I fluffing hate that game.
This is Legends Arceus?
Yeah, this is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like, again, one of the greatest games to ever be released. But they did unfortunately, and I don't like trashing on this game. I think it's a top 5 Pokemon game. It's really weird. I have a weird relationship with this game. I have yet to want to play through that game because I know for a fact it's going to have the Call of Duty 2K effect. It's not going to be different enough. It's just not going to be different enough than my first playthrough, because I could find a new shiny here and there just from dumb luck, but it's not going to be different enough. Whereas every Pokemon game that came before it, and Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, it is going to feel like a different playthrough. PLA just didn't do that very well to me. Personally.
I agree. So right now we got about like 2 minutes left of the podcast to answer the question. And also I have,
and then I still have final thoughts on it too. I just wanted to open it up and get you guys' opinion.
So we might have to end the podcast right after we already are setting out to the maximum. I think we'll give you the final thoughts after. Yeah. I think we'll be
I
fine.
can wrap it up pretty quick though.
Okay.
I've had time to think about this one.
Yeah, that's fine. I kind of agree with everybody. I think I agree with Vandy when it comes to replayability of a game, because I think that's what determines the length of a game. When you talk about Tears of the Kingdom, it's really not that long of a game if you just start playing the main line game, just like Joycie and I back in the 90s, and with our NES games, we just had point A, point B, following along the main storyline. We didn't have any side quests, as many side quests as games have now. So that's why the games are longer now, because now there's more to do besides just the main objective of the game. There's so much things to do to the side. So that makes the game in a way longer. But I think that speaks to what Vandy was saying. They're trying to make games more replayable now. And so you spend more time on them while they continue to work on another game. Imagine just playing point A to B, getting Zelda rescued, and then that's it. Game is gonna be this shorter, and the time you have to wait for the next game is gonna seem a lot longer. So
True.
I think that there's no such thing to me as a long or short game. I think every game accomplishes what it needs to when it comes to the storyline and when it comes to what the world offers. Like in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I think that it was 3 journeys, but at the end it was one story, and how it came together was just, to me, beautiful. And the going wherever you want, completing whatever story you wanted to do. I actually went. I did 1, 2, 2, 2. I went like that. I went like on this story. I completed the first level here. Went on this one like that, and that's how I decided to complete it, instead of just doing the gyms. And then after I finish all the gyms, come here and then doing this all here, because I know if I finish all the gyms, then I'll probably overpower everything else here, and then overpower everything else here. So I try to do balance. So I like the fact that you were able to choose, and I think the fact that Pokemon is one of the most replayable games out there right now when it comes to what you can do after you go back in the game. Like, you go to Vandy's channel, go to Lynn's channel, and look at their videos. You guys can see.
Yes.
They go back to Scarlet and Violet, and they make these masterpieces of videos with them. And like, how they're not even doing the story; they're just having fun within the game, And do you count that towards the length of the game? No, you don't. You just count that as it's the game. It's what it's meant to do. So to answer the question really fast, are games too long? No, I think games are as long as they need to be, and they do what they want to accomplish. And then going towards what Lindsv was saying, which is beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You don't have to rely on a game to be supported and from all, the real world is out there, and guess what? There are allies out there you can reach out to, and when it comes to even mental health, there are a lot of people out there that that can give you a hand on this journey that you're going through, right?
And you guys know you got your favorite auntie over here.
Yeah, and not only that, but that villain that every game has, that's yourself. Because you are your own villain. You stop yourself. You put your own barriers. It's the battle is up how far you can go. You set your own limits. When you convince yourself that you are more capable of, that what you think you are, and then you can go further than just the horizon, then you'll go really far, and then maybe we can stop asking the question, are games too long, and go out, live life to the best of our abilities, and try to become Pokemon masters in real life, and get that doctor's degree or that master's degree that you want to get, or buy that mega house, paint that painting, buy a
finally get Nintendo to buy my Zelda script because it's so good.
I mean,
Yeah,
games are there to distract you from everyday life and from the trials and tribulations that life wants to bring us. But hey, trials and tribulations make us stronger, and without them, we won't become survivors like we all are here in the podcast. We go stronger every single day. Thanks to video games, we have a little distraction from real everyday life. But when it comes back to everyday life, continue fighting the same way. Learn from video games and continue training the same way. just pretend that next test you're gonna go through is a Pokemon test. Get your Pokemon. It's like I remember what I'm saying this because he's here, right? Bro Lindo. So if it's okay, I'll share this. Bro Lindo came home because he was about to take his test. He had 6 classes. Oh no, I don't think I can go to school next year. I said, hey, you are a Pokemon master already. You have 6 Pokemon on you: math, science, history. Well, every single class. Consider that a Pokemon. Train as hard as you can and become a master at your craft. Take what games teach you, and then apply it towards life. And you have no idea what you're capable of. That's all I'm going to tell you. You have no clue how far you can go. And ignore the dumb voices that want to distract you and keep you behind and say you can't. And ignore the voice inside you that says there's no limits. Because every one of us has one. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there.
Final thought. If I do final thoughts, it'll take over 2 minutes this time. Because we know everybody has to go. I have to go too. I didn't mean to get too deep.
I'm hungry.
Because maybe we'll do that for another discussion, and we can get really deep. But what my overall thing is, I'm a heavy book reader. One of my favorite books is probably about 250 pages long, but a lot of books that I'm attracted to, I guess you could say, are 500 pages long. That's why I always have a big purse. Got to have a book with me. So same with games. I want the full experience of what the developers are trying to convey. So I don't think games are too long or too short. I think it's all about your, for me, gaming is one of my favorite hobbies. It's in my top 3, and I make time for it. That's why I said, you got time to play Tears of the Kingdom, because the next big mainline Zelda game ain't coming out for probably at least 5 years. So take time, play an hour a week if that's all you got. Play, enjoy your games and that sort of thing. So I don't think games are too, so I don't. It kind of rubbed me just a little bit the wrong way when I was seeing people online saying, well, it eats up all my time, and it's like, no, you need to make time for your hobby, and it has to work for you. It's supposed to be enjoyable. So games aren't too long or too short. They're just what's your relationship with your hobby? So we'll leave it at that. And like I said, maybe one of these podcasts will get real deep when we literally have no news. Right.
Like
nothing.
We'll make it into a section. Everybody will share a little bit of their lives, and we'll just share something that can help somebody. All right. As if we have something to share that is going to help somebody out there, why not? Right.
Because y'all, chat got to understand, we are 4 of the busiest people. Paul as well. We're some of the busiest people ever. You would think the way we kind of chill on Wednesdays that we're not, but we're extremely busy people.
Yeah. Like right now, I haven't seen my wife and my kids. I go straight from work, 10-hour day, and I set up for the podcast, and I'm here now. And then after this, I have to record the video for tomorrow.
Oh no.
So I'm done. And sometimes by the time I'm done, my wife is already in bed. I'm like, good night, sweetheart. I didn't see it today. Because it happens, and it's the grind. But one thing that I've learned over time is that when you have a goal, you have a dream, then you have to continue fighting, never give up, and just journey on. Right?
That's right.
I mean, that's why I say it. I tell people, I know it's a catchphrase from now on. It's even on the mug. By the way, you can grab the mug for today. It's something that I tell myself.
Put your favorite coffee in it.
It's something that I tell myself every single day, right? I tell myself literally every single day, because at the end of every video, trust me, I can't. At the end of clocking out from my shift from work, I don't have the strength to continue. I literally don't. When I wake up in the morning, I sleep like 4 hours, 3 hours sometimes. I don't have the strength, and that's why this is what I've been telling myself for the past, I would say, 10 years. 10 years. Life is a journey. And the good thing about a journey is that you can make it an Odyssey. And what's an Odyssey? An Odyssey is a group of people who travel together and support you, and you can go further when you're walking with people who support you and who love you, and no matter what, you're not alone. So there's that. That's why we have the Nintopics podcast to support you guys. And we talk about games sometimes. Sometimes it leads this way. This wasn't the intention of the podcast, but guess what? It's here now. Somebody in the chat needs to listen to it, and we're saying it. So that is life, guys. Video games are good. Remember, you continue life after the video game. take the lesson you need to take from the video game and apply it to your life, and then try just to leave every day just a little better, like go into a room and leave it better than you left it. Go into a classroom, leave it better than you left it. When you ace that test, you're leaving it better than you left it. When you pick up after your parents tell you to pick up those dirty shoes from the floor, pick them up. You're leaving the room better than you left it, Bandy. And then when
Bandy's like, what did I do? In other words,
pick up my shoes.
And there you have it, guys. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's episode of Nintopics podcast. We had a good chat. We spoke about games. Pokemon Presents was awesome in my book, right? I do give it a W. Yeah, we'll give it a W. And the next one is going to be even better because the next one's going to be in February? Around
probably Pokemon Day.
Pokemon Day, right?
February 27th is typically Pokemon Day.
Nice. So there you have it, guys. Pokemon Day will probably get better announcements. Right now, we're focusing on not Tears of the Kingdom, on Scarlet and Violet, which, by the way, it's like 3 other games you're getting with Scarlet and Violet, and it's going to be awesome. But here we are. Thank you guys so much for watching. Vandy323, Twitter, Twitch, every single place you can find it. Literally, he's everywhere. Everywhere. Just Google search and you'll find his face like this. Just
like that.
LindsVidzz on YouTube. She's doing amazing things. Her last video was amazing. Well, I'm not sure if you listened to another one after that one.
Not yet. I'm trying. I just need people to get down and record to do it.
It was you can count on me. But put a noob versus a noob versus pro video.
There you go.
Yeah, or never caught a shiny in my life kind of video. Anyway. So then you have Joycie J on Twitter at DJ Joycie J. Don't confuse her. She's not a musician. She's an expert at everything Tears of the Kingdom and Zelda and Hyrule. And one of our lovely hosts here. Thank you, Joycie. Thank you, Linds. Thank you, Vandy. Thank you, Paul Gale Network on YouTube and everywhere in between. This has been the Nintopics podcast. We'll see you in the next live stream next week. But before we let you go, we got 2 important things we're gonna let you know, right? Little mini EV2.
I think EV2 should let us know. I feel like it's really impactful coming from EV2.
He doesn't talk. He's just a little shy.
Don't be shy.
This is really endearing.
It really is, actually. I'm a little mesmerized.
I think I have
Pikachu?
It's the Zelda Pokemon crossover we've all wanted.
Pikachu?
Okay, he's basically what he said is never give up and peace.
Pikachu?
Never give up and journey on, y'all.
That was so insightful.
What he said was.
Yeah, I totally speak Pokemon now.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you for your translation, Mike.